Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be a step-by-step video to help you master a easy, vegan, healthy tofu stir fry. Yes, we're going to make tofu taste amazing in this video. So grab all of your ingredients when you're ready and let's cook together. Here's what you'll need for your easy, healthy, vegan stir fry with tofu. So first thing you're going to need is this organic tofu. I always get extra firm. I like the consistency of the extra firm, and I feel like it tastes a lot better and it holds flavor really well. And I just don't like, soft, spongy tofu, so I always go for the extra firm. And I really enjoy these little packets because this was actually like one block of tofu, but you can cut it down the middle and it keeps it really fresh. So this is nice, like if you're cooking just like for 1 or 2 people or 3 people and you don't want to open a big block of tofu each time and worry about how you're going to keep it fresh in the refrigerator. So I'm going to use a half a block of tofu. It's gluten-free, and I'm going to use half of this bag of organic stir-fry blend. This has broccoli, carrots, green beans, onions, red bell peppers, and mushrooms. I told you this was going to be easy, so yes, we are using frozen veggies. This is the 365 brand from Whole Foods. I really like this brand because it's very inexpensive, but it's good for you. So this bag is about 2 cups, 16 ounces. I'm going to use about half of this bag. The stir-fry blend. So those are the 2 main components. If you wanted to have this over rice or cauliflower rice, then you would have that as an addition, but I'm not going to have this over any rice or cauliflower rice. I'm just going to have it as is with the veggies and the tofu. So in addition to that, what you're going to need is about 3 teaspoons of minced garlic. I like to get this to save time. And as you can see, it's just garlic water and citric acid, which keeps it fresh. That's a little tip for you. If you do happen to chop fresh garlic or any type of fresh veggies and you have some left over, you can just sprinkle a little bit of citrus, like some lime or lemon juice over it, and put it in the container, and it'll keep it fresh. In addition to that, I'm going to use a little bit of veggie stock. So if you're following along with me, it's going to be about a half a cup of veggie stock, and I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons of tamari. I like to use tamari because it's gluten-free. Sometimes I do use regular soy sauce, but I am very sensitive to gluten, so I like to keep this tamari on hand. As you can see, it's just water, soybeans, salt, some type of alcohol to preserve the freshness, and it says it contains soy. So it's very salty, and that's why I am using this unsalted vegetable stock, because that's going to have all the salt that I will need. I'm not adding any additional salt for my seasonings. I'm just going to use black pepper, paprika, smoked paprika, and ginger. So moving on to what's going to give it a little bit of sweet flavor. Now I like to use dark maple syrup. I usually have this on hand because I like to do that master cleanse here and there. If you are interested in how to do the master cleanse, definitely check out the playlist that's on my channel. That's good for you to kind of like reset your gut and just reset your whole body, give yourself a little detox. If you don't want to use maple syrup, or you don't want to use sugar or anything sweet that's going to add extra calories and might spike your insulin, I like to use this monk fruit sweetener. This is a white sugar replacement. It has 0 carbs. It's 0 glycemic, 0 calorie. It's keto approved if you're into that. And it's 2 times sweeter than sugar. So this has 30 packets in it. You can get it with packets, or you can get it with like a bag, and it has all of it in there, and you would just spoon it out with a teaspoon. instead of using the maple syrup tonight, I'm going to be using 2 packets of the monk fruit. So yeah, that's what I'm going to use for sweetener. Then I'm going to use about, how much of this do I need? I think I'm going to only use like a teaspoon. I'm not going to use too much olive oil, just like a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of this, just to kind of like oil the pan to get things going, because it is a stir fry. But you know, you don't have to drown it in oil, just use a little bit of that. And then once I get towards the end, I'm going to do a splash of lime juice. You can do lime or lemon, but I think lime will give it a nice extra kick. You know, lime and lemon juice, when you're preparing a meal, especially when it's towards the end, it always like brings the flavor way up. So that's something to keep in mind. And I'm going to also be adding some red wine vinegar, probably about a teaspoon of that. So here I am about to cube up this tofu. Now, you don't have to cube yours if you don't want to. You could actually slice it into like little rectangles. I've seen that done in different restaurants, and I really do like that consistency too. But tonight I'm going to cube this up. So to do that, I just drained it a little bit. I'm going to go in about 1 inch or so and then just start cutting down. Even though it's firm tofu, it's soft enough that you don't need a special knife or anything. So I'm just using a little simple knife like this. So I've made 4 little cuts there. I'm going to turn it around, and I think I'm just going to do 1 down the middle here. Then I'm going to flip it this way. And cut it like that. So now I have my cubes. So these are nice. These are going to be very tasty in my stir fry. You could go crazy and put all of the seasoning and ingredients into like a marinade and marinate your tofu overnight, but it's not necessary. But if you wanted to just go the extra mile, you could. This is just an after work quick meal. Now I'm looking at some of these, like I want to make some of them smaller, and because I'm not marinating them overnight, I am going to go ahead and do that so that the flavor goes through. So let me just do that. So now they're going to end up being more like rectangles. I'm going to cut it long ways this way and then down. As long as it holds its shape and it's big enough that you can feel like you're having something additional to the veggies that are in it, and also allowing the flavor to penetrate the tofu so it's very tasty. You know, because tofu really doesn't taste like anything. So whatever you season it with, it's gonna take on that flavor. I'm just cutting all of those up. Another trick with tofu is if you want to get it really extra firm and be able to release a lot of liquid, I suggest freezing it inside the packet that it comes in. Stick it in the freezer overnight, and then when you defrost it, you'll see so much water just rush out of it. So like this is holding a little bit of water, but it will come out as we're cooking it. But if you're making a big dish and you really want to make it easy to take all of the water out, you can freeze it overnight, and once you defrost it, you push it down. You don't even need a tofu press, honestly. Just push it down and you'll see like all this water come out. You can even do it side by side. I did that on one of my videos. I did a side by side of tofu that I had froze. It was frozen, and a tofu block that was not frozen, was just fresh, you know. Took it out of the packet. I pushed it down side by side, and you can see so much water coming out of the one that had been frozen but had defrosted, you know. So here we go. I think I actually like these sizes. It's gonna be good. So I've already started to heat the pan. Let me move you guys over to the pan I'm using. I'm not using a wok. I actually don't own a wok, but I'm gonna use this because I think that will do the veggies and the tofu justice. So it's already on like medium high heat. If you have one of those stoves that have the numbers, it's like medium is in the middle and then it goes 6, 7, 8, and then high. I have it on 6, which is right above medium. So it is getting hot there. I'm gonna add just a teaspoon, not even. Of this olive oil, just to get the pan going. And that's heating up. I'm going to take my stir fry blend, like tofu, stir fry blend. I'm going to open this up. I want to see my scissors. I'm going to use my knife. I'm going to kind of pinch it so that I'm using half of the bag. So like I said, there's mushrooms in here, broccoli, green beans, carrots, red bell peppers, and a little bit of onion. That's perfect. Okay, then we have to get carried away. Make sure I'm using half. So yeah, I use half of this bag, because then I can use this for something else or another stir fry. So that is going. What I want to do now is add my garlic. And I said I was going to do 3 teaspoons, so let's go for it. If you're like me, I like my garlic. There's this weird trend going on. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but there's a weird trend going on about not eating garlic and onions. If you're someone that follows that, why don't you let us know why should we not eat garlic and onions? I never really understood why that was not a good thing to eat when it has so many vitamins and nutrients in it. So I'm just mixing that up a little bit. And yeah, it does have kind of like a strong flavor to it, but you can just pop a mint in or brush your teeth after. It's good for you. It's like food in general. There's different smells and things to it. Okay, so I mixed that up a little bit, so that's good for the garlic. Now, this is what I'm going to do for the tofu. I got my bowl here, right? And we've already cut up the tofu. I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. We're not doing a very long marinating situation. I'm not going to marinate it forever. But I do want to get all the flavor in there. So I'm going to put it in a bowl. So pretty. Check that out. And I'm going to start with what's going to give it the most flavor, which is the tamari. So like I said, tamari is basically soy sauce that's gluten-free, and it is high in sodium. So if you're trying to watch your sodium, you might want to get a low sodium situation. Low sodium tamari, or if you can do gluten, you just get a low sodium soy sauce. I'm going to go ahead and add my tamari. I'm going to do 3 teaspoons because this is not a big serving. 1, 2. After my second one, I'm going to start mixing a little bit before I keep going. And make sure I get friends at the bottom, even though it is going through, just to be sure. Then I'm going to add that 3rd teaspoon of tamari. I'm going to go ahead with my other wet ingredient, which is the red wine vinegar. My friends are following here. This is just going to be 2 teaspoons. 1, 2. Red wine vinegar. How are my veggies doing? Veggies are doing beautifully. Let's add some of our seasoning. So I'm going to start with this black pepper. It's going to end up being about half a teaspoon. Because remember, this is half a block, so we don't want to overdo it. This is going to be half a teaspoon of the paprika. This is something that you can do if you're trying to measure out seasoning. I know a lot of us have seasoning that are in these type of containers. You can just like put it over your teaspoon and then mix away. Give it a gentle mix. I don't know if you've ever had tofu scramble, but you don't want it to start breaking apart like a tofu scramble. Even though tofu scramble is delicious, but that's not what we're making. So we have that. Then I told you guys about the ginger. We're going to have half a teaspoon of the ground ginger. Fresh ginger is good too. If you need to have it on hand, just use, like, I would say, for this amount, I would say half of a thumb size of fresh ginger ground. You want to put it in a food processor or something like that. But I'm just using this because it's easier, and I don't have any fresh ginger on hand right now. Usually when I have extra ginger, I put it in the freezer and I add it to smoothies. So let's mix that up. So this is super tasty, but you're not adding all of that stuff to this. Now, I do still have my monk fruit here. I'm going to save that. And I still have my lime juice. So those are 2 things that are kind of going towards the end. Okay, here's what's happening now. Veggies are getting nice and tender. I'm going to move that around. And they're like almost done, pretty much done. What I'm going to do is put them a little bit to the side, away from most of the heat. That's why I like using these. Even though I don't have a wok, this comes in pretty handy. I'm going to go ahead and add my tofu. Tofu's juicy. Juice is coming out. It even changes the color of the tofu. So that's what we got going on now. It's going to spread it out evenly so that it can cook evenly. And I am going to raise the heat up to 7. Remember earlier I said it was on medium high, and medium is like, I would say 6 o'clock. If you want to think of it in terms of a clock, medium is 6 o'clock, and 6 is 5 o'clock, and 7 is 4 o'clock, if that makes sense. So I have it on 7 now, so it's all the way up. Almost high, but not high. And now here is when I'm going to add that half a cup of veggie stock that we talked about earlier. So here's my half a cup. Everything is heating up nicely. I'm going to pour that over. And then I'm going to raise the heat once again. Now I have it all the way on high. So as you can see, it's bubbling up a lot more because I raised the heat. And I do think that it's ready to give it a nice stir. So I'm going to start doing that. Because yeah, at some point we do want to start combining these guys. And this process is going to be very quick because you do want your veggies to be somewhat al dente and not soft at all, so they have a nice texture to them. Not too crunchy, not too soft. This is something very easy that you can do on a Monday night, which this does happen to be a Monday night. And like I said, you can add this over white rice or brown rice. You can add this over rice noodles. You have your sauce there. So it's not dry at all. You know, it has a lot of juicy flavor to it. So yeah, I would let that sit for maybe 2 more minutes and then it is ready to go. Now the last touch to this is adding my monk fruit. So I know it seems a little weird adding 2 packets of sweetener, but if you don't want to use monk fruit sweetener, you can use maple syrup. But I do suggest adding something to add some type of sweetness to it because you know, you've had your vinegar in there, you got your salty tamari, your garlic. You do want to add something that's going to add a touch of sweetness. And if you are watching your sugar intake, or whatever the case may be, monk fruit is a very good alternative. So I just sprinkled that on the top. I'm going to add my lime juice now. That's really going to set this off. I'm just adding a teaspoon and I'm going to drizzle it all over. Now we're all set. Doesn't that look good? This came out so delicious, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you're subscribed for more. Hit the like and follow me on Instagram at Natural Vegan Mama. Any questions or comments, leave it below, and I'll see you later. Bye.